Synergy Nation Network podcast. Shows for those with passion. Visit us online at synnation.net.
Captain's Travel Log, supplemental. I find myself in a strange land today. It's as if they dumped an entire city in the middle of a cornfield, and they named it Lincoln, Nebraska. Some call it home. Others call it a temporary home. That's what I call it, in Lincoln, Nebraska. I see on my computer screen a strange sight. Oh, it's James. I see you, James.
I see you as well. I hope your daughter is not in the same room as you, because wowzer, she must be like, my dad is a fucking nerd.
She's right in there, and she knows I'm a fucking nerd. I mean, there's no doubt.
She's like, wow, this weekend, stay in this hotel room. I'll take public transit to whatever competition I'm going to, because
yeah.
I don't want to be seen with you, sir.
No, she does not. That's true. She doesn't need me at all. She drove the whole way here. We've been traveling for over 20 hours, and I only drove while she ate. And then as soon as she was done eating, she was like, pull over immediately. I need to drive. So it was fantastic for me. I was just, on my phone and looking out the window, and it was great. Not bad at all. It's nice having kids that are willing to drive you around.
Wow, you get the time,
many
hours in a car with your youngest child, and you choose to be on your phone the entire time.
That is untrue, man. There's a lot going on. I was just talking, I'm playing music with some other guys now, and these other guys have, they have kids that are in their 20s and in their teens as well, just like me. And, I had the audacity to complain to them that, Charlotte always wants to drive, and, Charlotte tells us everything. There's really no secrets, no matter how shocking, whatever she's going to tell us, she tells us. I mean, it's a very open relationship we have with her. And, they were telling me, our kids, we can barely get a hello out of them. So, count yourself lucky. So, yeah, we had a pretty good time here. No problems. I mean, lots of silence, but also lots of talking. No arguing, no crap talking, other than me being a nerd, I guess. That was the worst of it. But, yeah, I'm going to talk again about the road. Oh, what were you getting ready to say, James? I'm sorry.
Did you play the Shuffling the Deck definitive introductory ICP playlist podcast, because you said she is into ICP these days?
Yeah, she played her normal playlist. ICP did not come up. I don't know if maybe she took them off I know that we were hearing the same songs 4 or 5 times. Like that one Snoop Dogg Wiz Khalifa song that's like, so what, we get high, so what, we smoke weed. That came on 5 times in a row, it seemed. I did not hear any ICP, I'm sorry to say.
Well, you should have played the playlist.
It's, there's certain things that I'm good for in the relationship, but there's certain things that I'm not good for in the relationship, and that is choosing music. So because I like her music, I let her go with it. I don't argue about trying to get my music in there, because everything she listens to, I also like. And I'm trying to expose her to different stuff along the way. And some she listens to, others she does not. But usually it's just a surprise. Like the ICP was a total surprise. And as soon as that happened, you remember this, James, I whipped out my phone. I took a little video of it. We were driving through the city, listening to ICP, and the first thing I did was whip out my phone and text you immediately with a video. Look what's happening right now.
I don't remember the video. I remember the text, though.
Yeah, it was just a little video. We were coming right through the city. It was very scenic, and that's what I wanted to go into. We've been doing a lot of driving through a lot of different cities. We go through a lot of cities, many years. So we compare. This city looks just like this other city, and it's et cetera, et cetera. What I'm liking to see in the past couple years is, it's a give and take. A shitload of road work is happening. So there's, lots of Jersey walls up, lots of detours, which Charlotte's really good with that. She rolls with whatever detours or whatever roadblocks are happening. But it seems like every bridge in America is getting repaired right now. Every road in America is getting paved, and it badly needed it. Badly needed it. So that was a good thing, coming through the country and seeing that. I don't know.
I was going down some roads that need to be paved the past 2 days because are you good? Can I say?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, that was a nice transition, James. You fucked it up.
I fucked it up?
So,
Or you fucked it up?
I did.
Oh, thank God.
By asking instead of saying, hey, I was on some roads. So I am prepping to do like the first professional recorded live event that we've done. The first one on C2E2 that we did in 2020, we were like, yeah, we're going to be doing these all the time. It was February, late February. We were like, this is going to be great. And then I don't remember what happened as like a roadblock to prevent us from doing those, but it was COVID, guys.
I guessed that, but I didn't want to say it.
So I got to, back then I brought my laptop, the interface, a power strip, microphones, all of that to be able to record at this live event. So I said, fuck it. I want to get into recording stand-up, all of that stuff, be a live engineer. So I bought a 4-channel just digital recorder that has 4 XLRs. So I got that. And I was like, I should prepare myself. I shouldn't just be like, hey, we'll have 2 microphones on there. I'll just bring 4 because I'm micing the crowd as well.
Oh, nice.
In stereo. But then I was like, fuck it. If I want to try this, let's just try it for real this time. And I was trying to find the cables that I need, which are like the TRS to XLR. That would be the easiest ones to do because you go TRS into the soundboard and then you go out into the one things with the XLRs just because it'll be the easiest thing. You just plug them in real quick. It's all good. Mm-hmm. Trying to find those online, there was no places that I could get within a specific amount of time, and they were kind of expensive for my price range. So I was looking. I waited until like Wednesday. It's Friday that we'll be doing this event. So I was like, fuck, there has to be somewhere in this entire city that sells audio equipment. But all the places are like guitar places that only sell top of the line bullshit cables. So they're like $40 a cable. So I'm like, fuck. I'm looking.
Anytime I'm in this situation too, I just got to interject. I'm always thinking I'm in this situation a lot. And I'm always thinking to myself, I know that like what I need is probably like 3 doors down from me, but I just don't have the ability to grasp it. So I have to look like miles and miles away. Please go ahead.
So I eventually found a place that's 3.5 miles away that sells the cable I needed and at a affordable price, like $8 a cable. So I'm like, hell yeah. I go there and I scoot there because I can't afford public transit. And on top of that, public transit would have taken longer than just scooting there. And I was like, fuck, for real? So I get there. I find the cables that I need. I'm like, hell yeah, dope. And then I come back home, and this is after I recorded, I think, 10. This is my 10th podcast within a week of recording.
Yes.
And I've edited 7 out of the 10. Like, I was chugging away. Yesterday, I thought I was going to record or edit 4, and I was like, after 2, I said, I can't keep looking at a computer screen. Also, my pinky was hurting because I hold down the control key to like zoom in and zoom out and all of that, and to do hotkeys. So I come back, hey, I need to shower again. Our shower drain has been clogged for almost a week now. So we're having to scoop shit out. And we've put in a work order and they still haven't gotten back to us. I'm going to have to tell them, hey, black sludge is coming out of this. This isn't on us. This is something that's going on in the drains. But I wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, and then I'm like, I'm going to plug all this shit in. I'm going to get this going. I go to plug in the 1/4-inch cable into the mixer. I got a fucking the like telephone patch cable adapter. I'm like, God fucking damn it. I have to then go. I'm like a 7-mile trip on my scooter again, and on these there's a couple rivers that I have to cross, and the only one-shot road is just like patches of it are just completely torn up. That's why I'm on roads that need to be fixed. So
gotcha.
I go back, and when I'm there, I'm like, hey, you guys have this product, especially because I told them this is the adapter I need, and then they handed me the adapter, and it was the wrong adapter. So I go back, say the exact product I need. They go back, they don't have it, even though it's listed on their website. I was like, okay, then let me find just the 1/4-inch TRS to 1/4-inch TRS. They're looking everywhere. They don't have it. Luckily, I found, because I wanted just the XLR. It's just so much easier to use. But luckily, I found a stereo one, so it's like 2-in-1. I need like 2 literally taped together, pretty much glued together. So I got those. I came back only to find out that I had 2 TRS, but in the long run, I use one of those all the time. I knew I had one because I use that for when Nicole and I record a podcast and she needs to hear someone. I plug that into the 4-channel amplifier, and yeah, I came back, I tested everything, it's working. So if anyone in the Chicago area or surrounding, if you want to pay for travel, needs someone to record a live event, hit me up. 4 tracks, baby.
Hell yes. Man, I realized how close I am to Chicago, too. It was nothing. It seemed like nothing for me and Charlotte to drive to. We arrived in Missouri last night, Missouri, which, I mean, I think we went through Illinois at one point. Next time you want to have me on the show, just invite me over. I'll drive on over. I'll bring some cables with me. No problem. Just a 12-hour drive. It's nothing to us now.
That's so long because it's also another 12-hour drive.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know. We're just a different cut of cloth, I suppose. What you were saying just now about your cable and how you how you already had it reminded me of something that happened to me. This is our I guess this is like our Fix-It Man, like our Repair Man episode. Maybe we'll call it that. We have a dryer, and the knob that you use to like turn it on and off and say how much time is going to go. You were done with your story, by the way, about your cables, correct?
Yeah, I came back on my way. It was just, it's weird. Speaking of like going through towns, going through neighborhoods of Chicago,
right.
It's just where I was at felt like the suburbs of Detroit. It was just a completely different area, or the suburbs of Wayne County, whatever you want to fucking call it, Southgate, Michigan. So it was just, which feels like home because I would spend a lot of time there in my teens going to shows and whatnot. So it was nice seeing these tiny homes instead of just sprawling apartments. Do I think those tiny homes should be sprawling apartments? You better believe it. Population density, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think I was going to go off on a tangent about a dryer and about a knob, but I think I could skip that. Nobody cares.
Did your daughter message you and say, Dad, this won't be interesting?
No, she didn't, but I'm just going to cut against the cloth myself here. Okay, let's go with it. The dryer had a knob. The knob was broken. It broken before. It doesn't work without this knob. The plastic splits. Once the plastic splits, there's nothing you can do other than buy a new knob. So I've done this in the past. So the knob broke yet again. I was like, God damn it. I'm going to have to like order another knob. It's going to take X amount of time to get here. You know, got to hang up our clothes in the meantime. I looked up on YouTube like some different things you could do, and of course everybody was like, there's nothing you can do. I found a young man who like had like a 30-second video, and I was like, I'm going to check. I love 30-second repair videos. Let's check this one out. The dude was like, okay, so your dryer, the thing is broken. See, it's cracked. It's like ruined. You can't do it anymore. But look on the other side. There's another knob that's exactly like it. Just take that knob off and put it on that one, and then just switch the knobs back and forth. I was like, yes.
Hell yeah.
I fixed the dryer, honey. The dryer is fixed. So yeah, that was my story of already having what you need, within your home, and you go out looking for it, and it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Man, like in our travels, we saw some cool nature. We were on the highway, and we saw, this was like right when it was starting to get dark last night, and we saw a deer like dart out in front of us, and we were going slow enough that Charlotte stopped, and there was two little deers behind the mother, like with their white spots, and it was enamoring. It was awesome, but at the same time, I wanted to yell at them and be like, what the fuck are you doing crossing a highway in the middle of the night in Illinois? You should not be doing this, deer. But they went off pretty good. And then today I saw a bird I've never seen in my life. It was like, Charlotte pointed it out because we were stopped somewhere, and it was just a normal black bird, except for it looked like a red and orange and yellow target on each of its sides. And I took a picture of it. It was awesome. I've never seen a bird like that before. And it's like, I guess these birds only live in Nebraska. That's where we are now, by the way. We're in Nebraska now. And we like it here. Like you were saying, like, you go to certain parts of your own city and you feel like you're in another, like, worse city. And, we've been in some parts of, like, Iowa that were really weird and odd. But here, where we're at now, I mean, this is a really nice area. We're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're going to be spending most of our time here. I'm going to go up to Omaha, but I like it, man. Travel is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I was reminded of some trauma during our travel. This was like a therapy moment for me almost. So we passed a sign for Godfather's Pizza, and we used to have a Godfather's Pizza in Richmond. It closed decades ago. And I don't hear much I know it still exists in other states and stuff. I hear the Doughboys talk about Godfather's Pizza sometimes. But I've,
Herman
never...
Cain, R.I.P.
So what?
Herman Cain, R.I.P.
Yes. Our lovely Herman Cain. Yeah, he was the Godfather's guy. God damn it. What a good connection. So yeah, we passed the sign and I saw like the logo with the pizza dripping from it. And just seeing that brought back a distinct memory for me that I guess I've suppressed. And I was maybe 10, not quite, definitely pre-puberty. And at this point in my life, I was a cable TV kid, so I was always watching cable TV and like TNT movies and like, I don't know, all that slasher films, like slasher Jason stuff. There's always like, cute blonde California girls. And at the time, little 8-9-year-old Stevie thought like blonde California like girls of that sort were like, the most beautiful girl you could ever see. I was at Godfather's Pizza and there were two of these type of girls that were sitting at a table across from us, and they were ragging on me like loudly, and they're saying crap like, look at that kid, look how that kid eats, look at that kid's hair, crap like this that was like loud enough for all of us to hear. And like my dad, I call him my stepdad, he is my stepdad technically, but he's my dad. He was getting pissed off and he's like, you want me to go say something to them? And I was like, no. I was just like embarrassed and my stomach started hurting and I had to go to the bathroom. They made me feel terrible. And ever since then, I have had a strong aversion to blonde-haired California girls. Like from that point on, I cannot look at them the same way. And I think that could be why. Because what I always seem to be attracted to and who I'm married to is brunettes, like black hair generally. I mean, we're talking about preferences, I suppose, but seeing this Godfather sign is what brought it all back. And it's like, I think that's why I hate, what's supposed to be like the quote unquote, like cosmetically American girls. Do you follow me here?
Yeah.
Am I digging a hole for myself? Should I cancel it?
Did you stand up at attention and scream, I'm rooting for Jason now, and then go to the bathroom?
Yes. I definitely should have. I definitely remember like my stomach hurting. I couldn't eat anymore. I had to go to the bathroom. And I think when I came out of the bathroom, they were gone. And just seeing that sign brought all that stuff all back to me. And it just... I don't know, there's my therapy lesson for the day.
I don't know what hair color I'm into.
I don't know. How about dyed hair? What do you think about dyed hair?
I don't know. Nicole can't grow hair. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
does that mean so that means that you can't choose a hair color that you like because of that?
I mean, it's whatever Nicole's hair color would be, I guess.
Right on. Okay.
So it could be a dirty blonde, based off from her family members, either dirty blonde or brunette.
Okay, please let her be a brunette. If she's like a blonde California girl that's gonna laugh at me while I eat pizza, I'd be very mad. I wouldn't like Nicole anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh shit, man! Nicole just came in and was like, "Is that stupid piece of shit putting a piece of pizza in his dumb mouth?
Look at his stupid face.
Look at how he eats." Yeah. Can I say something? People have said that to me when I eat pizza because they're like, "Why the fuck is he using a fork and a knife?"
That's right. You like eat your chips with a fork too, correct?
Literally everything I use utensils.
Hell yes, man. I respect that. I have my road snack right here, my caramel popcorn. I eat with my hands. I don't know if you could eat this with. You can eat this with a spoon, I suppose. A spoon would be fine. But is this audible? Is this audible on mic?
No, it's not the audible thing. It's the visual. The listeners are fine.
But you're not. The most important person right now is not fine.
Oh, and then you just touched your face with, sir. Get out of here. There are so many episodes of Good Mythical Morning that I have to look away. It's not when they eat bugs. It's not when they're like dunking their head in pea water. It's when there was a literal episode that was like, what is the greasiest fry? And I was like, Nicole, I apologize, but I cannot watch this episode. And she's like, no, yeah, that completely makes sense. I don't want to watch this episode.
I only ate the popcorn as a gag, and I didn't realize it was going to make you gag. I totally apologize for that.
It makes my skins crawl.
Let me take a break so we can compose ourselves, okay?
Cheer! When people say like, hey, no... dig on you, this other thing you also do, I enjoy. It's like, yeah, I did that. There was once where someone said, oh, this one, like, this other podcast you do has taken over, like, my favorite since, like, mostly speaking Sentai. Like, no offense to you. I was like, yeah, that's no offense to me. That's technically offensive. That Nicole's like, what am I, chop liver? And I was like, exactly. That's offense to Nicole, not to me. I'm on both of the shows.
Yeah, like Who Charted recently did a Patreon. They had like a podcast page, and I wanted to put your podcast on there to make people aware that everybody knows the name Marshland Monster by now because Howard shouts you out every week, which is great. But I want to make sure people know you do podcasts too. So I picked my favorite one, which is Shuffling the Deck. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, there's Nicole. I'm sorry, Nicole. I used to be. I'm in the same boat too. Like once you started doing the Shuffling the Deck, I think just the structure of that podcast. I don't know, something about it. I like music podcasts too, so I like listening to people talk about music. So that's a big thing. Well, and the Sentai, I'm going to be honest with you, just like with Bitch Sesh, for example, I don't watch The Real Housewives. I don't watch any of those reality shows, but I love listening to Bitch Sesh because they talk about them and they're funny. And I don't watch Sentai, and I don't go back and rewatch Nicolas Cage movies, but I love listening to you and Nicole talk. So I listen to y'all's podcast anyway.
Soon Shuffling the Deck won't be around.
Yeah, y'all have almost caught up with recent time. Like they've just released an album very recently, right?
Yes, a year ago they did.
So yeah, y'all will be going right up to that, right?
Yeah, we got I think 4 or 5 more episodes left.
Don't make me sad here, James. I don't want to be sad. I want it to go on forever. But for right now, let's trudge forward.
Well, I want to say. Yes. We're still doing a show. We're just taking sweaty times in North America and just making that. It will be a pro wrestling show.
I'll still listen because I like you and Sean. I'm not a fan of ICP either, but I ended up listening to Shuffling the Deck. So I'm saying right now I'm not a fan of wrestling, so it doesn't appeal to me. But then I'm like, well, you and Sean do, so more than likely we'll probably be listening anyway.
I'm excited for that because I want to quit doing the ICP bullshit because it's so difficult to dedicate hours of my time to listen to these albums to fully dissect them. But a wrestling show that's 2 hours, I just have to sit down and watch 2 hours of wrestling.
You don't have to take many notes either. I mean, you got to take notes of like who's doing what, but there's not going to be like a lot of intricacies in there.
Unless there's like storylines and all of that.
Oh, there always is. There certainly always is. I was going to go on a side tangent about Sentai because I just sent you a note, speaking of the Discord, about Gwar questioning if they were Sentai. And the reason that even came up in my mind was because last week we watched Ninja Steel. I'm hoping that we're going to be watching some more of that in the weeks to come. That is the plan, right? We're still sticking with that? Yeah. And when they were doing their show and they had... Please remind me of the name of the show they do within the show where they battle monsters.
Galactic Warriors, I think?
Yes, Galactic Warriors. And the host of Galactic Warriors with his like Rob Zombie hat that he wears and he tells corny jokes. He was totally like a Gwar character. Mm-hmm. And, Gwar has put out several movies, one of which, Phallus in Wonderland, has a special place to me because Sam and myself bought it like the day it came out on, VHS or, it was VHS. Went to Sam's house to watch it. We were teenagers, and Gwar was barely older than us at the time, and we watched it with Sam's parents in the room. Sam's parents are in the music industry as well. So they're familiar with Gwar. But to watch a Gwar movie that was like, borderline rated X with Sam's parents chuckling along, it was an odd experience, but, we loved it. And that's got me thinking, what would qualify as Sentai exactly? Because they dress up in costumes, they fight. What else does there need to be for it to be like a complete Sentai thing?
Well, Sentai means squadron, so it needs to be a squad of people
They're a squad.
Fighting usually an evil force for the betterment of good.
Yes.
It's a team of people, generally late teens, early 20s.
Check.
And there's generally a henshin, meaning they are normal people, then they change into superheroes. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So what disqualifies them from like being in the kaiju cinematic universe then?
Well, no, kaiju is different. Kaiju means giant monster.
Okay, we got that. We got 5 or 6 giant monsters, and they battle a bigger giant monster.
Oh, are they as tall as building giant monsters?
Yeah. At the end of the movie, they all get really big, just like in Godzilla, and they smash things around.
Then they're kaiju. In the Discord, you didn't say that.
Well, no, I was just
Steve, you're lagging.
I'm sorry. I hate to do that. Is it still happening?
Uh-oh. Okay, I think you're good now.
Okay, that was a scary moment there. Everything looked normal to me, but not to you. But yeah, I think that they're it. So next year, think about me when you're doing that kaiju thing again, because I'd love to come on and talk about Phallus in Wonderland. I'll send you my VHS copy beforehand. You can watch it too. It's probably on YouTube by now or Tubi or whatever. It's got to be.
And they got that documentary coming out. I'm not into Gwar, but
right.
I have Shudder, so I will be watching that.
Yeah, right on. They have a couple. That's the only one that I've seen. They have other movies, and I'm going to tell you, it's very bad. It's very bad in many ways. They have other movies they put out that might be better. I don't know. That's the only one that I really have a strong memory of. But yeah, what you looking at your phone there? You looking up some Gwar stuff?
I'm looking to see if it is streaming anywhere. My guess, it's not like officially streaming anywhere. You can still buy it physically places. Like, never in my life when I Google something, store options come up and is the first page. That is the only thing that happens when you do that. My guess is it's probably on archive.org or YouTube in a full, hopefully DVD rip.
Yeah, it's definitely on YouTube. I know it's there, and I'm positive that Gwar. I can't say I'm positive because I have it on VHS. It's probably kind of rare. I don't know. You could check Gwar's website. They're on Instagram. I mean, it's worth watching. I'm not telling you. I'm telling the visitors. The visitors. Well, these people who visit our podcast, that's what they're called, right? They don't listen. They visit.
Yeah, they visit in a podcast app.
Welcome to our home. And I have another segue that's perfect. Welcome. I want to welcome everyone into the fold. But first, I'm going to figure out what James is tapping with his phone there. Tap, tap, tap. Tapping the phone.
Phallus in Wonderland is uploaded, but I'm guessing because it has their music in it, it is muted on YouTube. So you would probably need to go to an archive.org or download it illegally.
Or check out intro.void. Send me a message, and I'll play it on my TV, and I'll aim my phone at the TV. And I'll send you a copy.
How do you not have a VHS to digital converter?
I probably do, but it's just something I've never had the need for. So why have one if I don't have the need for it?
Or do you have a VHS DVD combo that you can record?
Yes, but no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't record.
Oh, it doesn't go VHS to DVD, just DVD to VHS?
Well, no, it has both in there, and you can play one or the other. You can record a DVD onto a VHS tape, but not vice versa.
Damn it.
Yeah, Caleb, my son, he can do that. He has a thing that he can do that. If I need it, I guess I need to do that if we're going to watch it at some point. I don't even know if we are. This is just off the cuff. I listened to your recent episode with Nick Frost. I know you have many more coming out. I did not listen on the live stream. I listened on the live stream during like the tail end of Nick's. But I didn't get a chance to listen to all those. But yeah, it's just something I made that connection when I was re-listening to our episode from last week with those guys from Gwar, and I was like, that's definitely Sentai stuff right here. That's something else I guess I should say too, is when I first got on the internet, when the internet first came about, I named myself Barnestown, and I've stuck with that name like ever since then, just because it was an original available name, and it's always available. Anytime I see if it's available, it's always available. If not, it's usually Barnestown Life. That's my handle other places, and one or the other of those is always available. But then when I started doing music, of course, I'm not going to call my band Barnestown. I debated that, but I'm not going to do that. So I chose Introvoid. So I've been running a bunch of different Instagram accounts. I have my original Barnestown account, which is, Steve Barnes has been going on for, however long Instagram has existed. That's how long I've been on there. But now I have this Introvoid Instagram, which I've had much more fun with that. And I've gotten many more followers there, and it's just a bigger platform for me. So I've kind of abandoned the Barnestown Instagram. I mean, it's still up and running, but it directs people to my Introvoid. So I'm kind of looking at Introvoid as, me, Steve Barnes, a.k.a. Introvoid. That's like who I am. It's my band, that's true, but I'm also part of other bands as well. And perhaps some of those other bands might be much more popular than Introvoid in the future, which is fine. But I'm going to keep that Introvoid account because it's a fun account. I enjoy it. I have a lot of great connections through it. So Introvoid is always where you can find me. You can also find me at Barnestown, but I probably won't answer. And of course, Sweet Child of Time, this very own podcast, has its own Instagram as well. Sweet Child of Time. I think that's what it is, right? Or is it Sweet Child of Time Pod? I don't even know the name of my own Instagram handle. Who knows? But if you just type Sweet Child of Time, it's going to pop up in there. Yeah. And of course, we can't forget Rebecca Crow. We got Rebecca Crow, but that's a whole different thing. That is Steve Barnes and Heather Barnes as a unit. So you're not going to see like a Rebecca Crow unless it involves both of us. So that's always the two of us together. Too many projects, James, but I'm having a great time with them.
Yeah!
Do you have any notes? What you been doing this week besides, well, I know you've been podcasting. Have you been doing anything besides riding your scooter and podcasting?
No, I believe I have not done a single other thing. Nicole's brother and sister-in-law are coming into town for the first time together, so we're super excited about that for Friday and Saturday. I wish they were staying longer, but they'll be able to see us perform live, so that's good.
That's great. Are they staying with y'all or in a hotel?
In a hotel because she is allergic to cats.
Perfect.
We were pissed at first. We were like, why the fuck did you get a hotel?
Oh, okay. Well, let me help you out here, James.
What's up?
It's always beneficial especially a couple, even if it's family, if you're coming into town to visit someone else, it's better not to stay in their house. It's better to have your own space in a hotel separate from them. Like, for example, like if we're going to visit family and we're going to be there for a week, we don't necessarily want to be there when they first wake up in the morning. And we don't necessarily, want to be there at like the wind down at night too, because you never really get your own space, your own break. So it's always good to have a place you can unwind. I've always found that absolutely necessary.
I would agree with that if there wasn't a dedicated guest room or a room that the individuals could stay in. I am also a very frugal individual, and I project that onto other people. So I'm like, why the fuck would you spend $130 on a hotel when you could stay here and, I don't know, spend that on me, baby, or just save that and call it good. When Nicole's parents come into town, they stay here. My mom, on the other hand, she's like, we're not doing that, but I like Nicole's family as much as I do, so I'm like, I want to hang around you all the time, and it makes it so much easier to plan things, especially with her family.
That's true.
Because then it's like, oh, well, when are you getting up? Okay. And then they're like, well, let's get something to eat, but let's get something near the hotel, or should we go there? And it's like, no, just everything is located in one area. We don't need to go to you. You don't need to come to us. We just get to disperse together.
Yeah, I guess it's a personality thing too. I mean, for some people, it's worth the extra money to pay for a first class ticket. Not because they want to fly first class, but because they don't want to be disturbed. So for some people, that is worth it beyond anything else. But I could, yeah, of course, with family, I don't know. I'm just cut from a different cloth, I suppose, James. I cherish my space.
We talked today, we started the podcast with me saying, I chose to, on a Razor scooter, travel 7 miles one day and 7 miles another day, instead of spending $5 on a one-day pass for public transit.
Right. Yeah, priorities, man, priorities.
I carted 65 VHS tapes in luggage and in bags on my Razor scooter 3 miles away from me instead of paying for public transit.
How many times did you have to stop?
A few.
Okay. I mean, I heard you talking about that. I don't know what podcast it was, but yeah, I heard you talking about that, and you were talking about how the guy was incredulous that you were taking this with you on a scooter, and I was with him. I was like, it might work for a certain amount of time until you get to a certain curb or until you get into a certain spot where I don't know. I can just foresee the case handle breaking or all kinds of stuff going wrong.
There's bike lanes, so I get to do it in the street, and I'm taking back roads. So I'm generally good throughout. It was the second time that I was like, okay, I'll take public transit. The public transit took 18 minutes to get to me. That was the worst day. That was when I was anti-doctor. I don't know if I explained that part. I don't think I explained that part about being anti-doctor. Wow, I should have also said they fucked up my entire day because I had to then wait around an hour to get those VHS tapes.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because I listened to you and Nick and Nicole talking about the doctors in that episode, and about how your wait time and how infuriating it was, which I understand. But I have to interject, just like Nick. He had his points to make, and I have mine. I think Nick and Nicole were both like, there's just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're a great person or that you're a smart person. But in every profession, there's like unknown things that are unknown to anybody outside of the profession that can either take time or like more of a hindrance than you would believe. Like, for example, if a friend has a really shitty like podcast and is like, hey, this file you're sending me is too big. Can you make it smaller, please? Something along those lines. Like, for you, it's like, for me to ask you that, I'm like, he can probably just compress it, no big deal. And for you, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So the doctor, they schedule you for a certain time. There are things that are happening in the background that you're not seeing. It's not like they're sitting there like looking at their clocks and like they're playing, Pokemon Go, and they're like, let's see how much we can piss this guy off. They're probably reviewing your chart, maybe looking at looking at some stuff in the past, looking at other patients that have had the same issues. Maybe they're prepping the room because the last person who was there was a real slob. I mean, there's all kinds of...
I was already in the room.
Like the room with the deli paper or whatever?
Yeah, I was in there for 40 minutes.
Yes. I mean, what I'm trying to say is those...
Also,
yeah, sorry.
People are taking my anti-doctor thing far too seriously. It is 90% for humor, 5 like real frustration, and then the other 5 is just like, I understand there must have been something going on.
Well, I don't want you to take that, because that wait time is going to happen every single time you go to the doctor, and that's something that you're just going to have to take with a grain of salt. It's going to happen every time.
It's the last 2 times I've gone. The other times, I haven't had this wait, and it was just on top of me. Like, he fucked my plans. That's really what got me, is like, I now have to tell someone that I have to wait to get their VHSs, then do all this backtracking to go to the DVD person who's selling DVDs, to then to the VHS person. And I was just like, this motherfucker, just to tell me something that he's like, hey, we're going to have to go inside. And I was like, I thought that's what we already knew. Why am I here? It could have been a fucking virtual meeting.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Just because the world is opened up, they think, wow, we can go back to the shit ways of the world. No, everything can be an email. Everything can be a virtual meeting or just a quick phone call.
No arguments here. Absolutely no arguments here on that point. I just wanted to say that you waiting for those 40 minutes, as somebody who's been to a lot of doctors' offices for a lot of different reasons and has just in and out and wait times, and that's just par for the course. It's like saying, like, playing golf. I hate all this walking, or I hate all this long distance we have to travel every time. It's part of the game. So part of going to the doctor is unfortunately waiting. And in my case, that's what I wanted to say, is like, I'm not trying to be like pro doctor, but just like Nicole, I'm definitely pro my doctor. Like, Heather and myself go to the same doctor, and he's like a really great guy who like looks at you and listens to you and responds back to you and, takes everything into consideration. He's my age. We have the same interests. I mean, I wouldn't go to anybody else. And I usually have to wait for roughly an hour in the waiting room to see him, and it's worth it. That's what I wanted to say. That's all.
Well, guess what? The world can be better because your comparison. I got to retort to that.
Okay.
Wii Sports.
Okay. What about
I don't got to wait around to walk to the next hole. No. I hit the ball, and then I'm there. Hey, get on an Oculus.
Yeah.
Put some mini golf on. I'm not waiting around. I'm just hit the ball. Oh, I'm at the ball now. Hit the ball. I'm at the... Oh, now I'm in the hole. Next hole. And make everything virtual, guys.
Yeah, well, virtual school sucks ass. I mean, we got to admit this. Some kids were okay with virtual learning, but last year, the virtual learning was a joke. It was awful. So I don't know if I can be on board with that.
I loved online classes. I fucking hated going to college because I was able to get everything done the day it dropped. Monday, hey, just dedicate that completely to school. Then, ooh, baby, I get to enjoy my week.
Me too. I agree with you, but unfortunately, the rest of the world does not. There's people like my children that learning style does not work for. Just because it works for you and I, us white men, doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. But hey, I wanted to change gears. I thought this was going to be a short podcast. This is just a regular pod. This is wonderful. The other announcement I wanted to make, which is kind of a non-announcement. Wheel of Time has been really slack lately. I checked the last 2 Wheel of Time Wednesdays, which is something that's been going on since this TV show has been in production. I think it's been going on longer than that, actually. But, that's how long I've been paying attention to the Wheel of Time Wednesdays. And there's usually something fun is announced or something happens. And the past 2, 0 has been happening. I guess we're in the true throes of summer, and they're all on summer break, and they're not listening to us right now. But what I do know for certain is I did some research. I was like, there's got to be something that I haven't announced yet that is forthcoming, and there is. We're going to have Guy Roberts playing Uno, and he's going to continue that role. If you remember Wheel of Time, towards the end, there was a guy with an eye, like the last couple of episodes, there was a guy with an eye patch who was like second in command in that Shinar army. His name was Uno. Do you have any memories of this fella?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, he's going to be a regular cast member next season, which is great. I relate a lot with Uno. I also have the whole left side of my body, actually. I was going to say like my left eye. I'm blind in my left eye. But then I also have a missing tooth on the left side of my mouth. I have a jacked left shoulder. I have, what do you call it? Planner's Fantasia in my left foot. So basically my whole left side and I also have like this left pain in my stomach that never goes away, like right here. So it's like I want to just like dissect my entire left side, and my right side is the good side. Anyway, that's why I relate with Uno, because Uno is the same as me. His whole left side is fucked up. We're going to have Arnis, how do you say this name? Federarvicious. Yeah, that's how you say it. Arnis Federarvicious is playing Masima. He's going to be a cast 2, season 2 cast member. Very happy to hear that. He was a great character in the books. No spoilers. Greg Chillington is going to be playing Ingtar. Wait a second. Ingtar? We know Ingtar. He's the guy that died. So maybe that is a spoiler. And we have Elias. He's been announced, and he is going to be one of Perrin's buddies. Great to hear these cast members coming up. But that's all the Wheel of Time news we have. They're really keeping slim. And like I said, no WOT Wednesdays to speak of. You got anything Wheel of Time related before we move on, James?
I sure don't. We got that video game. We'll be playing it soon.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, here's something, WOT News. Just like yourself, you're doing a live podcast tomorrow in Chicagoland. And on July 21st at the San Diego Comic-Con, our crew from the Wheel of Time Origins, the cartoon series that I loved so much, that wonderful dark animation. It was so lovely, so dark you could barely see what was happening, and James is giving it a big thumbs up, nodding his head how much he loved Wheel of Time Origins. He loved it so much. Well, that whole crew is going to be doing a panel at the San Diego Comic-Con, so we're both going to be eagerly watching that and going to have many questions for their animation style. Let's see. I got some non-band news, which means that I don't have any news. Yes, go ahead.
Real quick. If I was an asshole and I was wealthy, I would go to that San Diego Comic-Con, go to the Q&A and be like, what the fuck was this? Like, why was it so dark and I couldn't see anything? Who greenlit this? Like, why didn't someone say like, hey, turn a fader up?
The funny thing is, too, is like none of their other animation works, none of their other stuff looks anything even like that. They mostly do like realistic computer animation. They do like those dinosaurs versus mammals, all those kooky shows on the History Channel.
My guess is it's not their fault. Like, whatever Amazon or whatever studio produces Wheel of Time was like, oh yeah, like make it dark and gritty, and they're like, okay, I guess. Because I've been in that situation of editing music. Someone's like, make it like this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but why would you do that?
Yep. Well, I don't know. I liked it. I liked it a lot. That's just the kind of style I like. I don't generally like gritty, dark movies. Like I'm thinking about Batman or The Batman, for example, or like those later episodes of Game of Thrones that were so dark you couldn't see them. I'm not a fan of that, but I just like the tone of those cartoons, I guess. It took me back to like the old the J.R.R. Tolkien cartoons that would the old Lord of the Rings cartoons. Mm-hmm. The Hobbit and all that stuff in the 70s. There was just creepy animation. It was crudely drawn. It was kind of dark. It's kind of depressing in a way, and I don't know, it just kind of stuck with me. I just like that tone for whatever reason. The only other news I have is Rebecca Crow is working on a new song too. I mean, it's not our song. It's The Sword, Mist and Shadow. The funny thing is like the newer band that I'm playing with is I sent them an audition video, and The Sword is who I chose to, the music to play for that. And it turns out that they know The Sword. And we were talking about Patreons earlier. I got the Introvoid Patreon. We got the Marshland Media Patreon. Kyle Shutt from The Sword has a Patreon that I subscribe to as well. He puts out a podcast. Well, he's not putting it out now, but it's kind of cool that like I'm cousins with The Sword now. I'm playing with guys who have played with The Sword. It's crazy. But we've been working on Mist and Shadow. Heather loves that song. I introduced it to her thinking that she would love it. I was right. And every time she's in that room, that's what she's playing. So that's what I'm playing. So we're probably going to release that pretty soon. But yeah, that's a little wrap up here for you, James. Do you have anything you're plugging this week?
Yeah, guys. Head over to MLMpod.com to find out information about my other podcasts. Listen to my music under Marshland Monster. And head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive podcasts like Engage with Nicolas Cage, This Existed, Death from Above, a Sam and Max podcast, which R2 Shelby 2, newest episode, very, very funny. You're going to enjoy it, guys. And starting in July, I think the week this comes out, we are starting bonus episodes of Mostly Speaking Sentai, where we're discussing more mature tokusatsu and Super Sentai stuff, which we're starting with Akiba Ranger. So check that out. Yep. It's great. And for $10 a month, you get shout-outs on every single free feed podcast, along with more podcast stuff. So let's begin with those, because Steve wants me to read those on this.
Heck yes. I want to hear Steve F's name. Say it. Steve
That's
F.
who we start with. Steve F.
Green
Eric
Aja.
Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour.
Also
Alex
Green
Z.
Aja.
The Waz.
Green Aja.
You got. If you're going to do this, you can't just say it over me, because that's going to give you more work.
You're not giving me any time. You're not giving me any space to do it, so I just got to do what I got to do.
Because last time you didn't do it.
I was waiting for you to read the first three names. I was going to group them into the same Aja. Here, how about this? Look at me while you're reading the names. Start over again.
Steve F. Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour. Alex Z. The Waz.
Those are my three guys in the Green Aja. Congratulations, guys.
Next, we have Orion, a.k.a. Defo. He's a rapper. D-F-O. Kayla, a.k.a. Two Grapes.
They are both of the Brown Aja. Hey, guys.
Jordan B., the Chaos Witch. Joshua Jakis.
Well, Jordan B., I know, is a Red Aja. As for Jordan, I don't know, not Jordan. As for, is that Nicole's brother?
Yes.
Joshua? I don't know what Aja he'd be in, because I don't know anything about the guy. Can you give me a clue? Like, what are his interests? Let's find this out right now. Joshua.
He works in surveillance and, I don't know, likes Grand Theft
Blue.
Auto.
He's a Blue Aja. Okay. Automatically. Blue. Hell yeah. Who's next?
Next up is Steve Barnes.
Steve Barnes. I've already determined that I'm of the Brown Aja as well. Hell yeah.
My mother.
Oh, she's obviously yellow Aja. Hell yeah.
And then finally, Lil Corey's BFF and roommate, Shane.
Okay, let's hear about this Shane person. What's Shane up to?
I don't know, he's like a general nerd.
A general nerd. I mean, is he talkative? Is he quiet? What's he all about?
Talkative.
Talkative. Does he,
From my experience. I only have really hung out with him when he was drunk, so...
Let's just go with the drunk thing then. Okay. I guess the Aja most likely to get drunk would be the green Aja. So he's going to be in the green. Congratulations, Shane. Shane is, I'm assuming Shane is a he or a they.
He, I believe.
All right. Congratulations. You're in the green. And that's our people for the week.
And we've delegated you to being a drunk. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it was the most, it was the best thing to grasp upon of what you're describing. So there you go. But yeah, that's been a great week. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk about some Ninja Steel, I hope. No, we're not, because I'm not going to have any chance to watch anything. So we're going to do another kooky episode next week. James, are you ready for that, sir?
Yeah.
You ready to be a kook?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get off the phone here and be a kook. So everybody have a great week. And James, always find that water and shade, buddy.
You find water and shade as well, sir.
I'm trying. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, baby.